I'm supposed to speak on the role of community action in pangolin conservation. Well, just to quickly do some introduction, we already know that pangolins are the most illegally traded mammal in the world, yet so many people still do not know about them. The presence of the scales on their body makes them very distinct mammals in the animal kingdom. They eat ants, so we say they are ant-eaters. They are unlawfully exploited for their scales, for their meat, and they are used in traditional medicine, especially in China, and also we use them too in Africa for traditional medicine. They are nocturnal animals. They are not prolific breeders. They give birth usually, most of the time to one, especially the species that we have here with us, the white-bellied. They are solitary animals. They are found naturally in Africa and Asia alone. And there are 8 species of pangolins existing, with 4 of them in Africa and the rest in Asia. We don't need to overflog the fact that, Asian pangolins, 3 of them are critically endangered. 1 is endangered. So there's a lot of light on Africa to get the pangolins we have down to Asia. In Africa, of course, we have the white-bellied, the black-bellied, the temings, the giant, and then also in Asia, we have the Chinese, the Indian, the Sonda, and the Philippine pangolins. All over the world, people are trying to do a lot to help the pangolins right now. There's a lot. When you look at the social media, you see that so many people have joined the train of pangolin conservation. When we started out in 2016, it was like a lone ranger. It was like a lone voice in the wilderness. Nobody knew exactly why we were doing what we were doing. We were looked at as, what is wrong with these people? Is it just because of an animal? Now we have so many people joining because now it is obvious and is evident that pangolins are running straight into extinction if nothing is done about their situation. We're also grateful that because we started in 2016, a lot of awareness have been created, especially in Nigeria, about pangolins. For all the years from 2016 till present day, we have been creating awareness, educating people. We have celebrated the World Pangolin Day in very big ways since 2016. So people, and we have not just stayed in one state, we have moved all over the states of the Southwest. We have also gone to the East, and then we have done some education in the North, talking about Pangolin Conservation Guild, Nigeria. We have not just done that, we have also done some rescues. We have done rehabilitations of several pangolins. We have, if you look at our poster for this year, you will see some of the pangolins we rescued in 2022. That's just some of them, because there are more than that. So we are very grateful that we can even do a bit to help the situation of the pangolin. Apart from that, we do a lot of research. Some of our papers are out and on the net. We also do a lot of collaborations, like what we're doing right now with OHDI this last year and this year. So we are using a multi-pronged approach to solving the problem of the pangolin issue. So we're doing quite a lot of awareness creation, quite a lot of education of people. When we do our World Pangolin Day, we invite everybody. We invite the law enforcement agents, we invite the government officials. The last year, the minister was there, the DG Nesria. We invite everybody, and all the stakeholders are always there. The academia, the international community, and we have also taken a step higher to move into the international community too. Right now, we are working on the action plan for West Africa. I'm part of the planning group. That will happen very soon in March. So we're trying to create an action plan for the conservation of pangolin in West Africa. I'm the regional chair for West Africa, IUCN Pangolin Specialist Group. So we're working a lot in that area to make sure that, pangolins are protected. Now, having said all this and what we're doing, now we can achieve little if the local community is not interested in what we're saying. because they live with the pangolins. They are closer to the pangolins. So there's a need to take them into cognizance. You know, when you're talking about protecting pangolins, or conserving wildlife, you know, you have to take them into cognizance, because they are a major stakeholder when it comes to protection of wildlife. So what did we do? I was very happy when this project came up, the project that we did in Ekpe with OHDI on community pangolin protection, where we created a task force for pangolins. It's a very beautiful project. It's the first of its kind in Nigeria, and I'm sure, I don't know if I've had it in any other place, but I'm particularly amazed about the way the task force has taken this upon themselves, you know. Recently, I was in Panama for CITES COP19, and they called me from Ekpe while in Panama, and I had to wait to grant an interview to the radio station there, you know, because of pangolin. So I became very amazed and very excited about the way the people of Ekpe and the task force they've taken this thing so seriously. There was a day we had over 250 hunters go for hunting, and they asked that we give them flyers for education. Through this education, they're also getting locals calling them to come and pick up pangolins that they saw, because we say we shouldn't kill them. Recently, they brought 2 to Ibadan, like that. So I'm really excited about what we can achieve with the local communities. Well, if we have to take note that local communities matter. Now, when you go for CITES, for instance, that meeting, the reason why you have range states there, range states for where you have the animals being discussed, is because it is very important. They are the ones that can tell you that once they have a right mind, change of attitude, change of mindset towards killing and eating and using those endangered species, then we begin to make progress. And that is the kind of progress we have made in Ekpe. Because the last few times we've been there, I've been working in Ekpe for several years. I've been linked with Ekpe for several years. In fact, we did a National Geographic documentary there, where I was the local fixer and advisor with some Americans. Well, what we see is that every time you go to Ekpe, there's always pangolin on the tables. But the last few times after the trainings we had with them for 4 days, we don't see pangolins again. In fact, somebody was telling me all the way in Panama that they arrested someone in Ekpe, you know, and that it was the local people that were saying they should hold him well. That is a notorious person when it comes to pangolins. So I'm really excited, you know, about what we have achieved. So what are we saying? Biodiversity and nature's contributions to people are our common heritage, humanity's most important life-supporting safety net. But our safety net is almost at capacity, because more than 1 million animal and plant species are now on the verge of extinction, many within decades than at any other time in history. Now, the average abundance of native species has decreased by at least 20% in most major land-based habitats, primarily since the 1900s. Now, over 40% of amphibian species, nearly 33% of reef-forming corals, and more than 1/3 of all marine mammals are threatened. Now, that picture is less clear for insect species, but available evidence supports a 10% threat estimate. Now, since the 16th century, at least 680 vertebrate species have been driven to extinction. And by 2016, more than 9% of all domesticated breeds of mammals used for food and agriculture had become extinct, with at least 1,000 more breeds still threatened. So we have a problem. Now, indigenous people or local communities, they have a key role to play in global biodiversity conservation and nature-based solutions to climate change. They have made significant contributions to the preservation of some of the world's most vulnerable ecosystems. Today, these vulnerable ecosystems, or we can say they are threatened by many of the same forces that threaten nature, such as extractive industry pressures, infrastructure development. So we have climate change and other global trends hastening the extinction of natural habitats and resources on which they rely. So conservation and indigenous people can coexist. And approaches developed in collaboration with communities and indigenous people result in sustainable natural resource management. Understanding the links between local people and the environment allows us to identify, avoid, and mitigate the social and environmental risks of what we're trying to do, while also ensuring that the needs and aspirations of indigenous and local communities serve as foundation for our conservation programs. Now, we cannot work against the communities. We can't work against the communities when we talk about conservation. We must know what suits the community and the best way to approach the community and what to do or to say or to put in place to change the mindset of the community people. That is when we start getting results. Okay, so quickly, let me just talk about our involvement in what happened this past 1 year in Ekpe. We witnessed consistent awareness creations, rallies on pangolin conservation in Ekpe, Lagos State, by PCGN and OHDI. We know that Ekpe is a notorious place for wildlife sale and wildlife consumption. In addition to raising awareness, we had a 4-day training on community-based pangolin conservation and protection from 9th to 12th August. And then we did this, of course, I said, with OHDI. And then relevant stakeholders such as community leaders, members, hunters, bushmeat sellers, community youths, law enforcement agents, all were trained on pangolin conservation and protection. And at the end of the training, we had remarkable improvement in the knowledge and attitude of all participants. Everyone shared a burden to find a proactive measure for combating the threat of pangolin extinction in Ekpe. And consequently, we set up the first community pangolin conservation task force in Nigeria. This exercise, of course, was sponsored by a grant from the United States Consulate. Now, before this training, we had a rally aimed at discouraging sales of pangolins in the markets. And then after the training, we also had a rally again, or rallies again, with the task force members at the Oluwo market in Ekpe. And that was some months before the end of the year. And we saw that the sales of pangolins had dropped significantly. We got the cooperation of the market women. I can remember that during the training session, everybody said what was in their mind, and they wanted to be convinced why they should not sell pangolins again. And just like Mr. Kinley has reeled out the training manual, we combed every area of pangolin education. We talked about what the pangolin is, how important it is to the ecosystem. And then we also said how important it is to conserve them. And we also showed them law enforcement in different countries in Africa and overseas in Asia, where we have had arrest and conviction and jailing of people, some 10 years. And the people were amazed that that kind of thing can happen because of that small animal. You put somebody in prison because of pangolin, So at the end of the training, they were totally convinced. And they became the gospelers of pangolin protection themselves. And they were, in fact, the one man I know there that was a very notorious wildlife sale person and pangolin seller. In fact, he told us one time that he built his house and sent his children to school selling pangolin. They had to drag him to the training, the people there at the training already. And he came. So I'm happy. I mean, this is trying to rub minds with the community education, community awareness creation, educating the community and making them understand that there's a need for them to change their mindset and protect what they have that is theirs. So there's a need to cooperate and work with indigenous people and community people, just like when parks are set up. Like somebody mentioned Gashaka Gumti, such parks, when they are set up, if there's no cooperation of the communities around the park, there might not be any achievement in that kind of park, because those around must be educated why they need to protect the animals in the park. They must be catered for. In fact, some of them can be employed to also work in the park so that they can see reason to protect the parks and so on. So we cannot, in isolation, work on conservation without the contribution of the local community or indigenous people to what we're doing. Because it is only when we are able to convince them, when we're able to educate them, when they become educated, that they're able to join hands. In Ekpe, for instance, if not for the education they have, they will continue to make money, because we have seen Chinese men in Ekpe taking away these pangolin scales and pangolins from Ekpe. But because of education, because of taking them into cognizance, they are able to see that, and they tell everybody. They do the rallies now themselves. We don't even have to be involved. They do the talking now themselves to people. That meant you have to leave pangolins in the wild. They have to continue to exist and not go extinct. So this is what we did with the community in Ekpe. So really, I think there's a need to understand the community more. Now, while we were working on this Ekpe issue, we had to first of all understand them. Okay, they said every myth, everything they knew about the pangolin and why they should. And I had to tell them they use it for this, they use it for that. If they don't use it, something will happen. And I told them, I don't even use pangolin and I'm still here. You understand? That means there must be something you can do apart from killing the pangolins for whatever you want to do. Oh, so people need to be, I mean, the local community, they need to be taken into cognizance. They need to be worked with so that we can achieve what we have set out to achieve in conservation. Thank you.